Excuse me. All right, in this video, we're going to talk about how to use StatDisk to complete StatDisk Assignment number 2 in MyMathLab. And these are just sample problems. So pretty much pay close attention to what's being presented here and how I use StatDisk for each one of these problems. So in sample problem number 1, let's assume that a procedure yields a binomial distribution with a trial repeated n times. And we want to use StatDisk to find the probability of x successes given the probability p of success on a single trial. So in this case here, we have n, which is the sample that's equal to 12. X is equal to 5. That's the number of successes. And p is going to be equal to 0.48. That will be your probability of success. And by the way, n is the number of trials. Let's say we want to find the probability of getting 5. So here, p of x, that's x is equal to 5. So the probability of getting 5 here. So here, I can show you how to use StatDisk.com to do this. Okay. So here, this is the StatDisk.com. It's online. Should be able to know how to get into that. So you know you have to log in order to get to StatDisk. Okay. Now, so the first thing we're going to do here is click on Analysis, which is at the very top here of the screen. Click on Analysis. The one you want to select is going to be Probability Distribution, since we're dealing with probability. Click on that. Now, if you notice in the first problem, it does say that the procedure yields a binomial distribution. So we're going to be dealing with binomial distributions here. You want to select the one that says binomial distribution. Click on that. Now, on the left-hand side, you'll just fill in what you're going to need here. The number of trials, which is n. Now, you were told that n is equal to 12. So we're going to type in 12, then tab down to success probability, which is your p. And in this case, the probability you were told was 0.48. Then tab down to, now, if you leave this blank and click evaluate, you're going to get results for all the values of x, unless you enter a specific value for x in this box. So for the x value, we're looking for the probability where x is equal to 5. So here, we're going to type in the number 5 and then click evaluate. So you will notice on the right-hand side, you'll see your x value. And then you have your probability for x or fewer, and probability for x or greater. The one you want is this right here, the probability for x. In this case, the probability for x is going to be, and this is going to be very important because you want to put your answer in MyMathLab to 4 decimal places. That will be 0.204207.5. Reason for that is the fourth number after the decimal point is 4. The digit to the right of that is 6. 6 is bigger than 5, so you have to round this out to 2.2075. Okay, so make sure you're rounding it off to 4 decimal places, or how many decimal places they ask for in MyMathLab. Okay, so that's problem number 1. All right, now on to problem number 2. Problem number 2 is this. According to a survey by the Vision Council, 79% of adults need correction for their eyesight. You're going to use StatDisk and n equals 25 to find the probability of x. And x is going to be representing the number of adults needing eyesight corrections. Okay, so part A, they want the probability of 6 people needing eyesight corrections. Part B, the probability that 13 people need eyesight corrections. And part C, probability of 17 people needing eyesight corrections. Okay, so let's go to StatDisk.com. Okay. By the way, it's still going to be a binomial distribution, if you didn't know. Okay, it's still a binomial distribution. They either need the eyesight correction or they don't. Okay, so if you want to, you can go to analysis, go back to probability distribution, click on that, and then select binomial distribution, click on that. You'll still be at this page. All right, so the number of trials for sample problem number 2, that's your N, okay? We're using N is equal to 25, so just type in 25 in that box, and then tab down to, it says 79% of adults need correction for their eyesight. That means the probability of someone needing an eyesight correction would be 0.79. So we're going to type in 0.79 in that box. Because 79% is a decimal, you have to take that 79, divide that by 100 to get 0.79, or move the decimal point 2 places to the left and drop the percent sign. All right, so for our X value in part A, we want the probability that 6 people need eyesight correction. So we're going to type in number 6 and click evaluate. Okay, now pretty much this is going to be a very small number here because of the number of trials here, which is 25. So I would say 0.0000, round it off to 4 decimal places. Okay. But whatever that decimal value is, you want to round your answer off to 4 decimal places as indicated in MyMathLab. Okay. And then the next problem, the probability that 13 people need eyesight correction. Well, the N and the P will remain the same. All you have to do there is just change your X value. In this case, to 13, and then click evaluate. Okay. Now we have a decimal value here for P of X. And this is the only column that you need to look at. Don't worry about X or fewer or X or greater, because we're dealing with just the exact number, which is P of X. So the probability that 13 people need eyesight correction would be 0.0018. Here, the 4th digit is a 7. To the right of it is 8 is bigger than 5. So that 7 changes to an 8. So it'll be 0.0018. And then part C says the probability that 17 people need eyesight correction. So we just changed the 13 to a 17. The N and the P remain the same. So here we just click evaluate. Okay, and there you have it. For P of X, we look in this box here, there'll be 0.0744. The 4th digit is a 3. To the right of it is 8. It's bigger than 5, so the 3 increased to a 4, so it'll be 0.0744. Rounded to 4 decimal places. Okay, so do make sure that you round out to the number of decimal places as indicated in MyMathLab. Otherwise, you'll be counted wrong for that. Okay, so now we can go on to sample problem number 3. And it says here, based on Bellows survey of adults, 48% of them use a tax preparer to file taxes. Use StatDisk to find the probability that the number of adults who uses a tax preparer after randomly selecting 30 adults. Okay, so our N, that's the number of trials here, will be 30. 48% as a decimal will be 0.48. Okay, keep that in mind. So we're going to go on to StatDisk. Okay, so in this case here, we said 30, so that's your N, number of trials, 30. And then 48% of them uses a tax preparer to file taxes. So 48% as a decimal will be 0.48. You'll type that in. Then go down to your X value. Now in part A, if you notice, it does say we want to find the probability that fewer than 12 adults uses a tax preparer. Fewer than 12. Let's type in the number 12 and then click evaluate. Okay. Fewer than 12 means this. We have to look at X or fewer. That's this box right here. And the decimal value that we came up with. We don't look at P of X. That's exactly 12, not X or greater. X or fewer, because it says in the problem in part A, fewer than 12. So here in this case, to 4 decimal places, this will be 0.2445. This fourth digit is a 4. The digit to the right of it is 8, is bigger than 5, so the 4 increases to a 5, so it'll be 0.2445 for the probability that fewer than 12 adults uses a tax preparer to file taxes. And then part B says at most 8. At most 8. Well, the N and the P will remain the same. Your X value is just going to change from 12 to 8. And then click evaluate. Now the word at most means no more than 8. And no more than 8 is another way of saying X or fewer. That will be this right here. And we look at that decimal value. To 4 decimal places, again, this will be 0.0143. 0.0143. Okay. So that's part B. Part C would be at least 17. Well, we just changed the X value here to 17. While the 30 and the 0.48, they're going to remain the same. Then click evaluate. And the phrase at least will have to be X or greater. Okay. At least means X or greater. That would be this right here that I'm circling. Where P of X or greater for 17. It's going to be that decimal value, 0.2214. Rounded to 4 decimal places, 0.2214. And then part D, more than 20. Well, more than 20 means X or greater. So the 30 and the 0.48 remain the same, but we just changed that to 20 for the X value. And then click evaluate. X or greater for more than. And this will be your decimal value here, 0.0307. Now the fourth digit is a 7. To the right of it is 0. It's less than 5, so that 7 remains the same. 0.0307 would be the probability that more than 20 adults use a tax preparer to prepare taxes. Okay. So that's problem number 3, sample problem number 3. Now let's look at, finally, sample problem number 4. All right, and that's this. The brand name of cookies has a 90% recognition rate. Suppose the owner wants to verify that rate by beginning with a sample of 13 randomly selected consumers. Find the probability that 3 of the consumers recognize the brand name cookies. And then part B, find the probability that exactly 8 consumers recognize the brand name of cookies. And then part C, find the probability that the number of consumers who recognize the brand name of cookies is 3 or 8. Okay, so now let's go to StatDisk. And again, it's going to be a binomial distribution, just like in the other two sample problems that I did. Okay. Yeah, you can do this. Analysis, probability distribution, click on that. Binomial distribution, click on that. You can press clear if you want to clear this out. All right, now, the number of trials that you're in. In this case, you're dealing with a sample of 13 randomly selected consumers. So we type in the number 13 for the number of trials we're in. Success probability, it says a 90% recognition rate. And it's a binomial because they either recognize the brand name of cookies or they don't. And 90% of them do. So that would be 0.90 for your success probability. And then the X value. In part A, it says find the probability that 3 of the consumers recognize the brand name of cookies. So we type in the number 3 for your X value and then click evaluate. Okay. All right, let's try a bigger number instead of 3. Let's try 5 and see what happens. I'm gonna do 6. Okay, yes, this will have to work. I'm changing this from the what's on the PowerPoint slide. So for 6, it'll be 0.0001. That fourth digit is 0. To the right of it is a 9. We'll increase that to a 1. So that would be 0.0001. Okay. And in part B, find the probability that exactly 8 consumers recognize the brand name of cookies. So the 13 and the 0.90 remains the same. I'm going to change the 6 to an 8. Then click evaluate. So that probability there that 8 people recognize the brand name of cookies will be 0.0055. Okay. So that's for 8. And then in part C, you're going to find the probability that the number of consumers who recognize the brand name of cookies is 6 or 8. Okay. Let me do this. I'm going to clear out the X value box and just click evaluate. And you'll see the whole thing, that whole table that you see here. Now we say for 6, it was 0.0001. It's this one. Okay, correction on that one. You see, I know for 8 it was okay, 13 and 0.9. Okay, let's go back to 6 here. For the 6, it was 0.0001. And then for 8, it was 0.0055. You just had to add those two probabilities together because the probability of 6 or 8 would be the probability of getting exactly 6 plus the probability of getting exactly 8. So you just have to add those two together and give your answer the 4 decimal places here. Okay. So this should assist you with the StatDisk Assignment number 2 that's in MyMathLab. And Again, you're welcome to email me if you have any questions about, excuse me, about any of the problems that are in that StatDisk. Okay. Good luck with the assignment, and I'll talk to you later.